Today's Swole Fam Spotlight is from Morgan. What's going on, Beaches? Welcome to the Daily Swole Podcast, episode 2687. I'm your host, Papa Swolio. It is Thursday, September the 14th, and Morgan writes, "Hey, Swole Fam. I have been a silent member for a bit, but I finally feel like I am in a good mindset to express my experiences." Well, let's express those experiences, Morgan. This year I turned 23 and I've taken it upon myself to finally prioritize me. I have had an issue with how I've viewed my body. Since I was a young girl, I would beat myself up for eating, even healthy foods, or for skipping a workout. When I had good days, I try to eat like a normal person. I'd have friends, in quotes, ask me if I was seriously going to eat whatever it was. When I felt bad, instead of finding support and comfort in friends, I found it in food. I would sneak food into my room at night, cookie dough, chips, frosting. I'd eat myself into oblivion, only to feel bad immediately after. I'd then go into bouts of extreme calorie deficits to cope with the idea of weight gain. The cycle of binge eating and starving myself seemed unending, and it continued even into my senior year of college. I went from 150 pounds to 210 pounds, which was my heaviest ever. That's when I found Swolenormous and Papa Swolio. Since I started Swolenormous X, I have been examining my nutrition and my views on food. Food is fuel, not comfort or something to fill up boredom. I can confidently say that I no longer beat myself up for eating or skipping a gym workout to work on my own self-care. I have lost 31 pounds, went from 32% BMI or 32 BMI to 30.8. I'm not sure if she meant body fat percentage or actual BMI, because BMI isn't a percent, but it's all good. She went down and lost 5% body fat. I just want to say thank you to the Swole Fam community and to Papa Swolio. Well, I'll take it. Fluff the pillow. But really fluffing the pillow of the Swole Fam and what we've created here inside Swolenormous X. And that kind of cycle is common. A lot of people go through that. Binge eating and purging, binging and purging. And purging doesn't necessarily only mean vomiting. It means extreme restriction. People do that with excessive cardio, right? People will binge eat all weekend and then go and do cardio and elliptical for like 3 or 4 fucking hours. So that kind of cycle obviously is unhealthy. It's not mentally healthy. It's not physically healthy. Of course, the foods that Morgan was consuming were not good either. And we know that the food in our environment is designed to get us to compulsively eat it. All right. This food is not in line with our genetics. It's not in line with our evolution. So there's other factors at play. People are obese, are struggling with weight loss. We know that not because just of calorie consumption. It's not just from willpower. We talk about it all the time. The food is fucking poison. So yes, of course you can use willpower to an extent, but we all know that doesn't last long term. These compulsions, these side effects from just any of the normal food, and a lot of foods that people think are actually good. So it's really important to understand that the nutrient density, the food choices, the things that we subject ourselves to in our environment, from everything from the body sprays and the lotions and all that, it all matters. It all matters. So really stoked that Morgan is making progress, and feel free, Morgan, if you're listening to this, to follow up in the Facebook group. But progress is progress. Now, of course, someone mentioned yesterday, I forget exactly who it was, we don't really do after pictures until we're 6 feet under. There really is no after picture. It's all a progress, right? It's all the progressive lurching and grinding forward. There really is no end point. Of course, we're going to have checkpoints. We're going to have successful periods. We're going to be satisfied with our progress and moving forward. But of course, there really is no end to this, right? It's just learning, developing, and stacking wins on top of wins. So absolutely fantastic from Morgan. And hopefully any of you watching or listening can get some perspective and learn a little bit from Morgan's story. If you want to join Morgan, myself, and the rest of the Swole fam, join us, swolenormousx.com. We also have a private episode tomorrow. It's a private live stream. It's an overtime segment right after the live stream, the public live stream. So we'll have it tomorrow. But then, of course, we go into overtime right after with some brand new balls deep edits and Drive Mall Gaining. It's going to be awesome. So members only. Another reason to join the Swole fam, swolenormousx.com. And of course, use code Daily Swole for 10% off every day over there at papaswolio.com. Use code Daily Swole for 10% off. We have awesome new merch we'll talk about a little bit in today's episode. Super stoked to have you here. We got a new intro too, so enjoy, and let's get into today's episode. How we doing? Helen, Brady, Nick, Cerny, what up, Beaches? What's up, Andrew? Episode 2687. The following program is rated TV MANOC. It contains a big pair of nuts directly on your chin. It is intended only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
Lie back down.
Obesity is epidemic in the United States and a major cause of death.
What is fat activism?
I, a fat person, am sharing my own lived experience.
Pizza is a vegetable.
Your fat phobia is your problem.
It is not my place as a smaller-bodied white man to comment on it.
Radical body positivity.
What can men do against such reckless hate?
There's only one man who can help me.
This is for you new people. I only have one rule. Everyone fights, no one quits.
This day we fight!
Swole normal.
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Testing. Test, testing, testicles. Welcome, everyone, to episode 2687 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular Swolecast, Beercast, Broadcast, Gangcast, Mancast, Pimpcast, Sleevescast, and Slaycast in the realm. Because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. What's going on, Beaches, Booshes, Bustas, Hustlers, and yo hoes? It's your boy, Papa Swolio, back with another episode, and today's episode of the Beastcast is brought to you, is powered, is sponsored by Eversting K2, flexing on all you
fucking
It's the fucking Catalina wine mixer. It's the fucking Catalina wine mixer.
All right, fam. Well, we got the church. She's getting a little spicy. You getting a little spicy, baby girl? We got the church, we got the Tainty Man, and of course, we have a Swole card that we're going to expose in just a few moments. Come one, come all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, we're going to jump right into today's episode. Excited to have you all here. The intro was great. Morgan's post was fantastic. We talked about at the end of the pre-roll that we do have an overtime segment tomorrow for members only, so don't miss out on that. Another reason to join the Swole fam today over at swolenormousx.com. All the private live streams you will have access to, weekly accountability meetings. We have 2 roundtables a month, and of course, our weekly overtime segments on Friday. Every single Friday. So we have a brand new Drive Mall Gaining, so don't miss out on that. That being said, drop in the comments, what are you smashing today? Let's summon the Falcon, get today's party started. Let's bust this nut wide open. We got a hell of a show. Let's fucking go. Falcon. Oh, Freddy, you furry beach. Okie dokie. Hashtag execute more. Drop that in the chat for a chance to win today's Swole card. We love us some execute more. Don't we, fam? Don't we? Don't we? I think we do. I think we do. Okay. We also, I'm going to talk about this until the cows come home, rather until P3S8 comes home. Signature Series P3S8 9/27/23. We are just 13 days away. SwoleNormousX.com/signature will release the mystery Signature Series. We'll be releasing that in just 13 days, so don't miss out. We'll talk about that day until that releases. So very excited for P3S8. Let's get into the tip, fam. Everyone, moisturize. Babe, just an inch. It's cold outside. Okay, we got one from Doris. Why is that? There we go. Doris. Doris writes, hello, fam. Confession. Incoming. Maybe it's swole fashion. I have not been going to the fucking gym regularly. I have been busy walking, then walking a bit more, followed by more walking.
Wow.
I have discovered the extreme sport for fat people, extreme hiking. You might think hiking is just walking. Who needs training? You couldn't be more wrong. In training, I have managed 32 kilometers in 8 hours. There was a 50-kilometer organized walk in July that I attempted with my sister, but she started to feel faint and dizzy and actually ended up on the grass in front of an ambulance. We gave up afterwards, not wanting to risk anything serious. Last weekend was our second organized event called Mammoth Marsh Hiking World Championship. Basically, walk as much as you can in a given time. Jesus Christ. We aimed for 50 kilometers, but finished after 40, which is about 24.8 miles. My sister was still getting over a cold, and I had slipped on a slope and pulled my thigh. Still, it was a new best, and we are proud of the achievement. Next attempt will be the beginning in October, and after that, the gym will be frequented more as the weather is not so nice in German autumn and winter. And while sister and I are proud of our achievement, we were also humbled by some others. The Notker, who carried his 200 plus kilogram frame over 10 miles. That's 440 plus pounds over 10 miles, a 440 pound. Okay. Two rounds on a course that had some nasty hills built in. Also, Maurice, we're just getting the whole story here. Maurice, who needs crutches and a walker after a severe spinal injury, but he carried on for 24 hours and completed 42 kilometers, a marathon distance. Last but not least, the fireman in full gear who walked for 24 hours with the stuff I've been doing. Will I get dispensation for missing the gym a lot? Well, very interesting. Let's get some gorillas. Very interesting. I've never heard of extreme hiking. I guess hiking. I didn't know that this was a thing. Walking as much as you possibly can in a given time period. That's like speed walking or speed hiking, trail running. I don't know. All I know is that there's something out there for everyone, and people do a lot of shit. So yeah, I mean, obviously that's a lot of physical activity. I'm curious if a 440 pound dude moves can walk 10 miles. Like why is he 440 pounds? A lot of this sounds like extreme effort. It sounds like a lot of output. So hopefully that translates into other areas as well. Interesting. From Germany, I suppose. Good for you. So do you get an excuse? Dispensation. Do you get an excuse? Do you get a pass for not going to the gym? I mean, I suppose. Look, I mean, if your goal is to walk as much as possible, then, that's what you need to do. But it depends on what your goals are, right? Your body is going to try to adapt to the stress that you put on it. That's how it works. All right, Riley. Riley says, hi, fam. Got an early FEF post for you. A few days prior to joining the Swole fam, my girlfriend broke up with me out of nowhere. I truly thought this girl was the love of my life and the person I was going to marry, but obviously that was not the case. I was listening to an old podcast and Papa was talking about how you just need to cut out shit that does not serve you. That inspired me today to do just that. I blocked her friends, her family on Instagram, deleted contacts and picture on my phone, and have made more steps to move on. I am nervous for what the future holds, but knowing that I have the Swole fam as a community has given me so much comfort. I would like to thank Papa and the fam for everything you guys have helped me with so far. Remember to invest in yourself and the communities that are going to support you in your endeavors. Never settle for anything less. Besides, I'm better off without her anyway, as it was always a struggle to get her to go to the fucking gym. Happy early Fef fam. Well, let's get a round of applause for Riley. We have a couple Rileys in the fam. But man, I'm sorry to hear that, but maybe these things usually turn out to be good things. The night is the day, or the night is darkest before the night is darkest before the dawn. Things are going to go, they get worse before they get better. That's probably the case, Nick. Nick says she couldn't handle his sick fucking gains. Well, Fef is every day, right? Friday is just a day that we officially address it. But yeah. Stone says, fuck her best friend. That's how you truly move on. Oof.
Because
but yeah, she obviously wasn't right for you. And these things usually aren't out of nowhere, not to make the situation worse, but it doesn't really matter, does it? What's done is done. And obviously it wasn't the right situation. So it's time for you to move on. Time for you to keep on crushing and push forward. And we're stoked to have you part of the Swole fam. Riley, we got your back. We also have one more post here from Susie, and Susie says, Papa Swolio, I joined 2 weeks ago, started the 90-day dash on Saturday. I have been weightlifting for several years and was pretty sure I had an imbalance on my right side. Just in the few days of the 90-day dash, that imbalance has become really obvious, and I have a lot of pain in my right hip, glute, and hamstring. Should I pause the 90-day dash and work on the Swolga program that addresses that, or what do you suggest? It's a good question. You never want to work through pain. I don't know where that's coming from, so I can't tell you, oh, you should do this or do that or avoid this. Obviously, you want to avoid things that are causing you a lot of pain. There's discomfort, there's strain, there's challenge, there's instability, but pain is not good. So you could have something like an impingement. You could have like a serious muscle imbalance that's causing irritation or some kind of friction. It's hard to say because you're not really explaining what is happening here. Pain is kind of like vague, but I would say you'd want to get that checked out. Maybe you have access to a therapist, something that you can get that worked through or exposed a little bit more. You definitely want to avoid anything that's going to cause you issues. If the Swolga feels good and the Swolga doesn't bother you, you could do that. You could also try one of the Swollen 7 mobility. You could try some of the other yoga classes and see what maybe aids in that. But that kind of discomfort or pain that you're saying in a certain area, I have to say, just because, it's covers everyone's asses, but it's also professional, that you need to get that professionally checked out. It doesn't need to be like maybe an MD, a medical doctor, but a physical therapist or something, someone that can diagnose it, someone that can maybe address it and give you corrective exercises specifically for what the problem is. It's really hard to talk about pain or discomfort from someone because everyone's perception of this is different, and it might mean something that that person doesn't realize it means, and I can't feel what you're feeling. So it could be something. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to tell. Could have something to do with your footwear, your posture. Could have something to do with other muscle imbalances that maybe have related to or resulted in issues at the hip over time. So corrective exercises are great. There's the glute awareness program. Maybe that might fire something that you're missing. So a lot of times programs like this can expose a weakness, but the program isn't necessarily designed. This one might not just be designed, or it's not individually customized to your specific issue, Susie. So I would practice some more yoga, just keep an eye on what causes you issues and see if you can get that diagnosed. That way we can address it properly, and you can address it properly. That's a tough one. Let's get into some knowledge cock. Okay, so let's get into some more questions. If you want to join all those amazing people, join us, swolenormousx.com. But yeah, someone says new shoes. Yeah, there's new shoes. I don't think new shoes are necessarily going to fix your hip, but it could be something that leads to that kind of hip discomfort. So let's see. We got one from Real Silver. If you got a question, hashtag ask Papa Swolio. I'm just getting a bunch of messages in, so if I have to pause for a second, I will let you know. But we also have the puppers. We have the tainty man. We have the tainty man. We have the tainty man here. Look at that boy. Aww. And we have the church. Both of them are getting the sleepies on. They're getting their sleepies on. They're getting it done. All right, we got Real Silver Orion here. And he asks, Papa Soy, what age do you start going to the gym regularly? I started going in high school. I took it really seriously when I got to college. So high school, end of high school is when I really started getting more consistent. But it was really like, and then into college is when I was really starting to smash some steel. Like even more. That's when I really fucking went ham-bone Jones. Evan Ciccolone, favorite back workout. I don't have favorite back workouts. Different exercises work different areas of the back. Just make sure that you're hitting different areas of the back, your weak points. You're hitting your lats and the frontal plane, the sagittal plane, doing like a high pull or a pullover machine. Get a nice, like wide pull up or a pull down move. Also, some good rowing movements are fantastic. Good rowing movements are fantastic. You do a barbell row. You could do a Smith machine row. You can get a good machine row. There's so many good options. 1-arm row, 2-arm rows. There's certain exercises that are great for more, quote, thickness or middle upper back and some that hit more of the lats. So it really comes down to what your weak points are and what you have available and what works best for you. Abdullah Lost, Papa Swolio, your best workouts for... All right. So we're going to do a lot of these today. We're going to do a lot of like best of this. What's the best? What's the best of this? What's the best of that? The best workouts for your chest. There's no best workouts for anything. There's no best. There are good strategies depending on the individual. So for most people, for your chest, you need to work on some sort of an incline press and some sort of a flat and or decline press. Whether it's a dip, whether it's a slight decline press, whether it's a decline machine, whether it's a flat press, machine press, Smith press. Most people need to work a little bit more on incline press. It's going to remove a little bit more of the sternal head of the chest activation. So you'll get more of like the clavicular fibers. It doesn't necessarily target them more. It just targets the sternal heads of the sternal head of the chest less. So generally a good idea to start with a little bit more or bias a little bit more upper. That's just in general. But it's really about good form. So a good chest press usually has a nice, good, a good chest press has also a nice converging if you can. It's not the absolute be all end all, but it's really good if you have a converging chest as well. All right, let's see. We got one here from Brennan. Brennan says, Papa Swole, do you have any recommendations to speed up recovery / less time being sore after smashing legs and being sore for a couple days? Sauna, foam rolling, massage, cold plunging, mobility, yoga, sleep, nutrition. There's really no way to speed up. It's just maybe to aid in the repair, to aid in the recovery. Because if you're sore, you cause micro trauma, you're banging your shit up, that's just going to be, it's going to take time, right? It's going to take time. It's going to take time. So that's what I would recommend. Make sure you have all your supplementation and your nutrition. Magnesium is very important. I'm not saying you take magnesium, you're not going to be sore anymore, but there's magnesium oil spray. Sometimes that might help a little bit. But if you did damage to your muscles, you did a fucking hardcore workout, you're going to be fucking sore. You're causing trauma and micro tears. You're causing damage. You're banging up the muscles. So it's just going to take you some time. But there are those things that are going to help you repair more readily than if you're not getting quality sleep, if you're not eating properly, if you are not giving yourself enough, repair. Go for a long run after a leg workout. Not wise. Nick Papasolio, what is your opinion on the pendulum hack squat machine? So you mean the pendulum squat machine? I have one. It's fantastic. I love it. They're all different though. They're all different. So it depends on the lever arm. Sometimes they have a counterbalance If you don't know what a pendulum squat is, I did a video where I was talking when I was on the squat. It was like on my shoulders and it kind of like swings. It looks like a pendulum. And the logic or the reason behind that is that it matches the strength profile of the quads better. So when you're at the deepest part of the movement, it's easier at the bottom. It's lighter at the bottom relative to, it's lighter in terms of the effort required. The quads are weaker at that bottom part of the movement. So you usually have a counterbalance, and that's why it's called a pendulum. Some of them don't have a pendulum. Some of them don't have a counterbalance, which is kind of weird. It defeats the purpose. Sometimes you have a weight peg. What do you call it? Where you put the plates on it so you can adjust the resistance. You could also use bands and things like that. So with mine, there's a fixed weight, and I could use a band if I want to add resistance. But in other words, that counterbalance weight aids you in the bottom of the movement. And then when your quads are stronger, when your legs get into more full extension, that's when the resistance increases. So you'll find that from a lot of machines or certain exercises, doing banded resistance with the leg press or with the hack squat or using a pendulum squat. Some of the machines are designed better. Some machines are designed better and they fit the strength curve, which is what it's really called, the strength curve. So you're weaker when you're at the bottom of the squat, but then you're stronger at the top portion. So this machine, it feels easier. It makes it easier at the bottom, and then it's harder at the top. So when you're weaker, the resistance is less, and when you're stronger, the resistance increases. So it matches it rather than a 45-degree leg press where you're pushing, it's the same weight at the bottom, same at the top. Even when you're weaker and where you're stronger, the weight doesn't change. Both are important. Both are valuable. But it's just more fatiguing. The pendulum squat's more fatiguing. I love it. It's fucking great. You could do it on a hack squat machine too if you have bands. That way at the bottom, and as you get to the top, it stretches more. So the bands start resisting more at the top. So you can mimic it with certain exercises. So you can mimic it. All right. Good question. Good question. Andrew, how'd you come to the handle of Papa Swolio? I came out of my mom's fucking vagina. You know what I'm saying?
Emotional damage.
My first words, bro. I came out.
Papa Swolio.
Don't you read your history? Come on. All right. X Piyush 456. How do I make myself disciplined as fuck as David Goggles? David Goggles. How do I cut off people? Well, that's easy. I wouldn't say you have to cut off people. I just think you have to love yourself more and take care of yourself more. And when you focus more on things that benefit you, not being selfish, but if you're putting yourself first and you're focusing on self-improvement, you have higher standards for yourself. You're going to have higher standards by default for whom you allow in your inner circle. How do I make myself disciplined as fuck as David Goggins? I don't think you're going to be. I'm not. No one is. That's why his name. That's why when you have a name, when you can just be Goggins, you don't even need to say when you're like Prince or Cher. Look, he's a legend. He's a fucking beast. He has his own demons that he's fighting all the time, and he's unhinged. So very, very impressive, very inspiring to a lot of people. But again, of course, it's not realistic. It's not realistic. But like he says, that's what it takes. If you want to be, was it extraordinary against, amongst extraordinary men or whatever. Yeah, that's it. Think about it. It's really not complicated. It's really not complicated. Either you're disciplined or not. Disciplined is doing the things that you need to do, regardless of whether or not you want to do it. So either you do it or you don't. I don't think you should compare yourself to me. I don't think you should compare yourself to David Goggins. It can be inspiring, but I think a lot of people also, kind of tie a noose around their neck. Like, if I'm not like David Goggins, I'm failing. Like that's a very unique person. And he's formed by his genetics and his life experience. He had a really, really tough life. Like a lot of people that overcome, you can't get like that. You can't get like that unless you're living a challenging existence. You know what I mean? Anyway. Derek Papasolio, thoughts on adding in some 20/30 incline treadmill walking to Swole season? Also opinion on incline walking in general. I used to do some low incline walk, like slow incline walking in the past. You can just go for a walk. I mean, if that's what you want to do for your cardio, there's nothing wrong with that. I think walking on an incline's fine if that's what you want to do. I have a Versa climber, so that's fucking exhausting. I don't do a lot of it, but I can, I'll do like short bursts. 12/30. I'm not sure what that means. You mean like speed 12? That's really fast. But I used to do that for my activity. I mean, adding that to Swole season, that's just general cardiovascular activity. So if you want to do some incline walking, then do some incline walking. Those are my thoughts. It just depends on what you're doing. Can you do some cardio when you're doing these strength? Of course. Is it going to negatively affect your your progress? Depends, right? If you do a shitload of cardio and you blast yourself, then it might negatively affect your strength training. Stone, have you listened to Goggins' birthday message to Rogan, Pure Gold? Hey, Joe. Oh, he's read it before, right? In his voice. That's not something new, right? Like the old one. It was funny. I heard it on one of his podcasts. Hope you're not sitting on your fat ass. I don't know what's funnier, the fact that he sent that message or the fact that Rogan does a good Goggins impression and you can just like hear him saying it. It's such like a happy, friendly, like, stop being such a lazy fuck. Let's see. Pookling Meg. Pookling Meg. If there is a gym bag on equipment/machine, ooh, but no one around, can you use it? Oh, we got gym etiquette. Can you use their bag? What if you just took out the bag and just like started using their deodorant and started slathering it on, taking their Axe body spray? No phthalates. We don't want to use phthalates, but just putting on their underwear. Okay. So gym bags, I don't like gyms that say you can't bring a gym bag. I'm not a fan of that. I do understand sometimes people bring in duffel bags. They look like they're going on a round the world trip in like an air balloon or something. But if I go to the gym, if I've built my own home gym, but if I went to the gym, I would have a bag with like wraps and you have your stuff. If there's no one around, like for how long? I think it depends on the context. Can you move it and use it? Toss it. Yeah, I think if there's a machine on a machine, I think it depends on if it's a squat rack, how long it's been there. Are there weights on the bar? If it's just a machine with a pin, like why not? Like if the person comes back like, hey, I jumped in. Look, bottom line, if there's no one around, if there's no one around, it's just sitting there, I would just move it out of the way and use the machine. Right? I mean, you look around, hey, if someone's out where they, hey, is this person here? Do you know if anyone's using this? It's a public gym. That's a difference. Would that person come back and be like, hey, I'm using that and get pissed? If they're an asshole, maybe. But of course, like that doesn't reserve the piece of equipment. So I think it depends. If there's a bar and a squat rack and there's 4 plates on each side, maybe the person was doing heavy squats and like had an emergency, had to go take a shit. At the same time, I don't think it's very appropriate for them just to leave it there. But, when you got to go, you got to go. And I understand you're not going to unrack 400 pounds. So I think it also depends on the context. Like if there's a squat rack and there's a belt, people sometimes move into a squat rack. It doesn't make it more appropriate, but sometimes it takes time. Squat racks are usually hard to come by in a gym because there's people, when they go to the squat rack, they usually do a lot and they warm up and it just takes more time. Yeah. I mean, it's a public gym. It's not your gym and it's not their gym. You're sharing it. So if they came back and like, hey, like a lot of times, like I've done that before and they're like, and you come back and they're like, I'm like, hey man, I saw that. Hey, yeah, no worries, man, no worries. And they don't mind, but if they get pissed off, then you could also take it to management or something like that. If like they're like being a complete asshole, it's like, it's not their gym. They can't just sit there and reserve machines and keep people from using it. I wouldn't wait. Yeah, 5-10 minutes, maybe 5 or 10 minutes though. You're going to sit around and wait for 5 or 10 minutes for someone to figure that out. You know? So I do understand. I think it depends on the context. I think she meant the machine. I know. Chris Ricard. 5 to 10 minutes max. If it's empty, ask people surrounding it. And if no one knows, place it kindly and use it and let them know when they came back. Yeah, I'm not saying you take their bag and be like, oh, is this your bag? Is this your bag? Is this the machine that you're using? Well, fuck that shit. Fuck your machine, bruh. Fuck your machine. All right, let's see here. Let's get some more. This is a good topic. This is shit that people actually deal with every day. Matt the Great, if it's empty for 5 minutes, they've given up their rights to the machine. Stone, honestly, when I'm at the gym, I'm 100% focused on me. If someone is not at the bench or using the machine, then I'm going to use it. I'm not waiting for other people. Right on. Nick says, I actually leave sticky notes on the bar. Be right back. Feel free to jump in. Yo, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. It'd be cool if there was a gym that had, well, I guess you could just, that's pretty. See, that's professional. That's professional. Nick, you're a pro. Nick, you're a pro. You're a pro, dude. You're a straight pro. Sticky notes on the bar. Feel free to jump in. Do you leave? You should leave like a little protein shake. Do you leave like mints on the bar? Nick leaves it and he leaves like a little mint on the bar, like a little fresh pillow, like a piece of gum and a mint. That's also true. Steffi says most people forget they left something behind. I mean, if you leave it on a machine, I mean, maybe someone put their bag there and then went to get some water, forgot they brought the bag, or maybe that was someone else's bag. For all you know, someone put the bag there, left, forgot it or something like that. Someone else came, used the machine, put the bag, like it was next to them, put the bag back where it was. I don't know. Sir Bear PC, everybody adding sticky notes to their bag. Yeah, a little piece of beef jerky and like some mint gum. That's very respectful. Complimentary beef jerky. Yeah. Do 2 more reps, pussy. Kara Alexis, what junk food do you miss the most? That's an interesting question. I don't really think about it. I wouldn't say I miss anything. Like I used to eat Sour Patch Kids like crazy. I wouldn't say I miss them though. Like I've eaten enough for 10 lifetimes. And it's not like I can't have them. So I wouldn't say I miss it. And that's the honest truth. I don't miss it because I eat other things that I love even more now. And I'm a grown-ass man. So it's not like, what do I miss the most? Oh, it left me. I miss this food. It's like, I'm a grown-ass man. I can go and buy it and eat it if I want to. It's not something that I have to have. So I'm making that choice for a reason. So I wouldn't say I miss it. I know what it is and I know what it does to my body. I'm also a different person. I have different taste buds. I just have different responses. I couldn't eat the same shit that I used to. Let's say 20 years ago with my friend, every week we would go and get like spicy chicken wings and I would get like the spiciest, you know, when you go and you get the different sauces for chicken wings and it's like mild, medium, hot. And then it's like 3 Mile Island. And then it's like Satan's asshole. It just keeps on going. I would always go for Satan's asshole. Yeah. I'll get like Satan's asshole. And can I get a little sprinkle of Alcatraz on that? You know? So I used to do that kind of stuff and I would just eat in pain. I don't know why that was something that was attractive. It's like, I just want to be uncomfortable when I eat food. And then after a little while of doing that, I actually naturally gravitated towards like, I started getting like medium. I was like, I don't want to be miserable when I eat food. I don't know why. I think it was like an ego thing. It's like, I'm a man. I'm going to eat the spicy thing. It's like, here's my face. There's a difference between like, it tastes really good and spicy, a good spicy. And there's a difference between this just hurts. This is just uncomfortable. I need first aid. Only Owen. What's the best mindset for working out? Not being a huge pussy. Not being a huge
Emotional,
pussy.
damn it.
Oh, you pussy. You don't want to go do it out. That's the best mindset. Abuse yourself in your own mind. Go to the fucking gym because you need to. It's time. It's time. It's time. Derek, taste buds comment is so true. The less you eat shit, the less you crave it. Now, if I'm out with friends, they get dessert 2 or 3 bites. I've had enough. The more nutrient dense foods, the more like flavorful and rich foods you get. It's just, you're satisfied, man. You're satisfied. All right, random fella. Matt says the worst is the spicy poops the next day and it feels like someone pepper sprayed your asshole while you shit. Okay. Okay. Everyone's like confessing now. Confessing. Random fella. 2233. Bro, I am 13. I have no money. I am thin, short. I'm not trying to laugh and don't know. I'm sorry. And don't know what to do. Everything about this, you have like the little stick figure, random fella. I'm 13, I have no money, I'm thin, short, and don't know what to do. Well, here's some good news. You might still grow. People can grow until like their late teens. So you got more time. Some people grow in college, like early 20s. Some people have spurts late. Thin, you have no money, you're 13. Well, it's probably because you don't have a job because you're 13. But, you know, some people work and you can mow lawns or rake, or you can go door to door and ask people, hey, is there anything I can clean out of a closet? Something I can do for like $20, you know, any chores I can do for payment, you can go and offer your services because it might not be legal W-2 kind of job, but you can go and be like, hey, can I rake your yard? Can I clean out your garage? Can I take out the trash? Can I any odds and ends or things I can do around the house? Depends on where you live, of course. If you're in a city environment and it's kind of sketchy, I get it. So, yeah, I mean, get a job, hustle. You're thin. Keep being a kid. Enjoy being a kid. Go outside, climb trees, go be active. You don't know what to do? I think you're in the right place. I mean, you're asking a question on my page on Instagram. So I'm humbled by that. I appreciate it. I hate giving like zero advice, but I would just say, start learning how to train, keep reading, learn, educate yourself, learn about proper nutrition, keep following the show, listen to the podcast, apply things where you can. You can do a lot of things like push-ups, sit-ups, crunches, leg raises, lat pull-ups. You could do all sorts of things. Not to mention, you could also probably get a little hustle going like we're talking about, washing cars, mowing lawns, things like that. And you could also go on Facebook Marketplace or OfferUp and check out the free section. A lot of times people are getting rid of odds and ends and random weights. Like some people just give away a rusty weight. They have a single dumbbell. All right. How many of you, I know a lot of you do. How many of you have a single dumbbell that's like rusted over that you use as a doorstop? A lot of like mechanics garages, people have like a dumbbell, like a 20-pound metal dumbbell that they just use to prop open a door. So there's people just give away shit. They're like, all right, these weights are just been sitting in the garage for 10 years. Just pick them up free. So people give away that shit all the time. And that's where a lot of people start flipping equipment too. They get it and they clean it up and they wash it off with Coke or WD-40 or whatever it is. They clean them up and they sell them for $20. They use that $20 to buy something else. They sell that for $40. They take the $40 and they buy other things for $40. And they sell all that for $100. And they take the $100 and they buy more and they sell that for $200. And they have $200 to buy stuff and they sell that for $400. And then you know, I'm not saying you have to start hustling, selling equipment, but a lot of people get stuff for free and then end up selling it. Some people just want it out. Like I've given away stuff for free. I'm like, hey, just take it $25. Is it worth more? Sure. Do I want to hold on to it for months and like try to make 25 extra bucks? No, I just want it gone. Some people just want shit gone, right? One person's trash, another person's treasure. Everyone's like rusty metal plates used to balance a shelf. There you go. Yeah. That's a good point here too. I'm just trying to get some more comments in here. I want to really lean into this. If there's someone that's like 13 that can use some help, I want to make sure we give it. Lindsay says, if you live in a smaller town, check with the school weight room. That's currently my gym. It's free 99% of the time. Dope point. You're 13. That means you go to middle school or high school. Hold on, let me see if I can. Thumbs up this guy. Cool. I like that too. If you're 13, you're in what? Maybe a freshman, maybe 8th grade. So middle school, high school. A lot of times there's a school gym that has school hours or open hours. And even though it depends, if you're in a small town, sometimes the instructor or the gym teacher, whoever's in control of that, you know, can also make exceptions. A lot of times people are more helpful than you think they are. You just have to ask. You just have to ask. I remember we had an instructor who stayed extra or stayed late, even after like he was done at like 2 or 3. It's for a certain period in high school, and had like, because it was after the football team used it at a certain time, but they weren't using it on certain days. I forget the details. But I remember he was like, hey, you guys want to lift? Like, I'll be in there. Cause like he was lifting or something. So he would let us go in and we can, you know, lift weights too. So it was cool. Like you just have to ask. All right, let's see. Let's see. Helen says, seriously, though, he has access to the internet, so use it to find videos on exercise to do with body weight. There's tons of free stuff out there. Yeah, this is Instagram stories. It's IG stories. So you have the internet. You have access to all this stuff. You have access to all the information. The question is really, do you have like are you going to apply it? Are you going to apply this shit? There's so much information. You could teach yourself. You could learn. You could do all this stuff yourself. You know, are you going to do it? Are you going to do it? Stonefit, there's a jogging path around my town with pull-up bars, dip bars located at different spots along the path. Yeah, you can also go to a kid's playground. I'm not saying go and be creepy around kids. But you know, when you go to like these parks and stuff like that, you'll see maybe a lot of times they have the 2 standard, right? The 2 standard pull-up bars, one high, one lower. They have pull-up bars. Sometimes there's like a little circuit outside for people to go, and you go to the park with your kids are on the playground. You could do a workout, or people walk around the outside of the park. Usually there's a walking path, and sometimes there's little stations. Yep. Matt's saying that in the comments. Yep. Helen says he can offer to help local churches and organizations that need volunteers to do landscaping and pruning. Plus, he can use that on his future resumes for future jobs. Volunteers, that paid volunteers or just volunteers? Strange says put rocks in a wheelbarrow. Yeah, a lot of these things don't sound glorious, but you do realize it's funny. Some of these things like lifting heavy rocks or just lifting heavy things, that's being glamorized now. You have strongman competitions where it's like lifting rocks or lifting these really nice metal shapes that are expensive to buy. They're made by Rogue or whatever it is, but they're just like, they mimic heavy fucking rocks, right? Like the Atlas stones, of course, they're round and you don't really find that in nature, but it's just like, cause hard to grab, but it's literally just lifting heavy rocks. Of course, you can wrap a towel around it. You could wear a sweatshirt or something like that. You can lift heavy fucking shit. You can make your own things. You get a rope and get a pulley. And just when I was in college, my stepfather in the basement had a pulley system, had a lat pull down system, and it was just car parts. It was like these like axle pieces that you would like clip one or clip two and put in a basket or clip two together. It's like weights are weights. Weights are weights. But the thing is, obviously, if you're trying to do certain exercises, you want it to be symmetrical. That's why the weights are round. And this is why certain things, like I don't care if they're rusty, certain things, it doesn't really matter. But certain exercises, for as much as we have symmetrical machines or symmetrical weights and they're round and it's even, it's perfectly balanced, a lot of times you do exercise, you see online, sometimes there's a certain way to train where you can put 10 pounds on one side, 20 pounds on the other, and it's unstable weights. It depends on what you're trying to accomplish, but beggars can't be choosers. If you don't have access to a lot, you got to get creative. You got to get creative, but progressive overload is progressive overload. If you're lifting a bag of books and you have 10 books in there and you lift 15, you can only do X amount of reps with the 10 books and you put in 5 more books. And then, that's progressive overload. You're overloading progressively. Yeah, dude, that's fantastic. Nordic curl. So you can get a GHD or a floor glute. Like I have one of those and they're expensive. They're like $600-700, but you can make one. There's straps that go under the door. You get on Amazon for cheap, but you can put your feet under a bed or a couch if it's heavy enough, or you just need like a pad under your knees and maybe a pad under your heels or whatever to make sure it's tight. You could do it under a car. You could do it under a deck. You could do it under a bed frame, a couch. You could have someone sit on the couch and make sure the couch doesn't move. Like there's so many different ways to provide overload, to train yourself. Right? It's like, what you going to do? What are you going to do? Do nothing or take action? All right, let's get into good questions. And I think that helped. That's deep. I think that helps. I think that helps him. I think that will help. I think that's some good insight. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. All right, let's get into what we got here. Balls deep. Ah, that's right. This was gnarly. So, we all know that after a hard workout, you need to have some carbs, right? You want to refuel, have some carbs. And we know the best carbs to have after pre-workout is beer. And we know the greatest beer in this country is Bud Light, right, fam? The Bud Light. All right. We know that alcohol is not good for you, but if you're going to have a beer, you're going to have something that's actually like real, right? You're not going to have that piss water. Bud Light literally castrated themselves, and we all know what happened with Dylan Mulvaney. So this stood out to me because that's one of the things that is turning the culture, the tides of the culture war in our society, is the fact that people are actually now using their pocketbooks, using their wallets. So a lot of times the, corporations or people in charge, they're going to try to manipulate. They're going to try to squeeze every dime, every bit of profit. They're going to try to, massage the mob. They're going to say and do whatever they can for their shareholders and for what they perceive to be the best thing for their company and to make the most money and profit. So, that being said, what's been very impactful is, and what's put a big halt in many ways to this insanely progressive ideology, right? From Target to Bud Light to all these other companies that you've heard the term go woke, go broke. With Disney, a lot of these companies are hurting when you start going after kids, when you push this over sexualization, this pedophilia ridden garbage and dribble, that it's going to start impacting you. People pay attention, or these companies pay attention, when they lose billions of dollars. Shocker. Okay. Money, profit. That's the lifeline of a business. If you're not profitable, you're not a business. So you have to be profitable. It is communism. It's Marxism. It's totalitarianism. So that all being said, this stood out to me, and most of you shouldn't be buying this garbage stuff anyway. We talk about phthalates, we talk about body products, and we know that Dove has been doing this bullshit, this body positive nonsense for a while, but we have something else here. Ziana Bryant is hired by Dove to promote fat liberation.
Matt Damon.
Despite ruining white students' life over misheard remark at BLM protests. So Dove has hired a BLM activist, a morbidly obese BLM activist. That's a good start. That's a good start. Fantastic. Dove has partnered with and I don't really care if the person's black or white, but if you're a Marxist, very ironic if you're a Marxist to be hired by a major corporation. Do these things not seem to connect anymore, fam? Does this seem very ridiculous? Does it not? A little weird? A little weird? Dove is partnered with a black activist accused of ruining a white student's life over a, quote, misheard remark to promote fat liberation in a bizarre and controversial new campaign. What else is new? The beauty brand has teamed up with Ziana Bryant, a community organizer and student activist studying at University of Virginia. Bryant claimed that she had overheard a white student named Morgan Bettinger threaten Black Lives Matter protesters in Charlottesville in 2020 after she used the phrase speed bumps while describing the protest that she saw. So this is the... but Bryant later admitted she may have misheard after gleefully watching and joining in as Bettinger was canceled and her life was destroyed. Shocker. Oh, wait, maybe I misheard. Oh, maybe I lied. Oh, maybe she didn't say that. Oh, well, too late. No punishment. You get an endorsement campaign from Dove. All right. You can say whatever you want. This is the rub. Bettinger was subjected, this is the victim of her lies. Bettinger was subjected to a torrent of abuse and a campaign to remove her from UVA. Staff and students ganged up against her and scuppered her future prospects. What fucking words are those? Scuppered. Never heard that one. Despite the controversy, Dove has chosen Bryant as one of their paid partners, a loose advertising and promotional tie-up similar to that Bud Light offered to trans activist Dylan Mulvaney. And we know exactly how that worked out. So she's a paid partner. It's a very loose advertising and promotional tie-up. Similar to how Bud Light lost $45 billion fucking dollars or whatever it was. Yeah. Bryant last week posted on Instagram a video declaring she was a Dove ambassador and discussing fat liberation, a campaign to end the stigma of being overweight. So there's that. Do we need to read on more? We don't. Scuttled? Yeah. Oh, there we go. Okie dokie. All right. Wow. Babuba. If you're just listening, we're showing a full body picture. I didn't expect that to come up. I thought it was more article. That's a big article. Okay, so okay, Dove. All right. Fat liberation indeed. Fat liberation indeed. Okay. We're just going to scupper that on out of here. We're just going to scupper that away. Now, very strange how you have a BLM activist, which is a Marxist organization, that is signing up as like a paid, sponsor, person, individual, whatever it was, partner, advertising partner for one of like Unilever. Isn't that who owns Dove? The largest like corporations. Is everyone seeing the disconnect here? Great. So there goes Dove. I don't know if anyone that uses Dove actually, I mean, this is not going to, here's the thing about that. So you look at that and you think, okay, is that going to sink Dove? Oh, Dove is next. I'm just kind of saying that. I was leading up with the Bud Light, like Dylan Mulvaney. I don't see that. I don't see Dove getting a hit because who the fuck buys Dove? Who buys Dove, right? Women, and most women are in favor of this kind of nonsense, or they're too agreeable to disagree, or they're like, well, I like my Dove. When a female, whether it's full of phthalates or mineral oils or whatever, when a female has a body product that they like, that they use, I think it could be like, I don't know what could happen, but they're not stopping using it. They're not going to stop using it. There might be some people that stop using it. But Dove has been on this body positivity train for a while. They've been doing this stuff in their ads. They're one of the earlier ones, weren't they? Weren't they going back into this body positivity stuff like years ago? I just don't think anyone that uses, it's not like Bud Light. Because Bud Light, the drinkers, there's like college drinkers, America, hardworking blue collar. That was like the complete opposite audience. That's why it just absolutely tanked. Plus the Bud Light is shit beer. So that was just waiting to get fucking ripped off the shelves. It was just the time for something like that to just get, because it sucks. So yeah, most of those soaps and they're all garbage. I mean, I just use a grass-fed beef tallow soap. You get rid of all the stabilizers and preservatives and phthalates and parabens. Like any of those, most of those over-the-counter things are just toxic trash. So anyway, I just don't think, as much as that's like, ugh, you look at that and you're like,
I'm totally comfortable in my body. I just don't want to be in pain.
So as much as you might look at that and think, oh my God, you're going to have this person be an influencer or a paid advertiser. I don't think anyone that buys Dove is going to be, oh, I'm not using Dove products anymore. Not to mention, most of the things that you're using, that Unilever, these companies, they're owned by a bigger company. You'll cancel one thing. You're like, I'm not using that anymore. I'm going to use this soap instead. The company owns that too. So you go from one to another. They're still making the same money. I just don't think that Dove, albeit trash products, I don't think it's going to hurt their audience. It's not like the Bud Light Dylan Mulvaney thing. That's Matthew says that's a lot of soap. That's a lot of soap. You can get the grass-fed beef tallow soap. You can get the beef tallow soap on Amazon too. Yeah, Bud Light was for frat boys. Bud Light was for, baseball games. It's just like cheap beer. You'd have that usually there with other beer products. And if you didn't want to spend $12 for a beer at a baseball game, you spent $9 or $10. Still a ripoff, like retarded ripoff for a Bud Light. But you get the point. You have a domestic, right? Then you have the import and whatever it is. You get a Heineken or a Bud Light. Okay. So let's get into a couple of videos. Ooh, we got some interesting stuff here. We got 2 trans videos. So talk about a rock and a hard place. Let's get into this fat phobic one first, and then we'll get into the trans one. So duet is called duet fat phobic to not want to be fat. It's fat phobic to not want to be fat. So are you gym phobic if you don't want to be healthy? Go to the gym. All right. Ruining this term phobia.
What's in the box?
No, it's not fat phobic. It's not fat phobic. You just want to be healthy. You just want to be healthy.
The conversation right now on whether it's fat phobic to not want to be fat, to me just really feels like an attempt to deflect people from having to really unpack their internalized fat phobia. And that can be from both fat people and non-fat people. So I'm not going to answer that question, but I am going to recommend some readings. I think it's really important that people understand the deeper systemic issues connected.
I'm not going to answer the question and address something that I can't explain. But yeah, everyone is just this deep unseated. You have to unlearn. You have to unlearn. We need more struggle sessions, fam. We need more struggle sessions so you can just tell everyone how bad of a person you are. You have to unpack your internalized misogyny and racism and fat phobia.
To fat phobia. First one is Burying the Black Body. It talks about the racist and colonialist roots of fat phobia.
This fucking book.
And I would recommend The Body is Not an Apology. It talks
should
about
be.
body image and radical self-acceptance.
The Body is Not an Apology. Well, that one is. Fuck. Say you're sorry. Say you're sorry. My God, say you're sorry.
Sand!
Woo!
Sand! Sand!
Jeepus craps.
Then I would recommend Sarah Simon's Fat Liberation Resources. It has a bunch of different articles talking about the history of fat liberation and fat phobia as a feminist issue. And last would be Anything on Obesity.
Fat phobia as a feminist issue. Anything to victimize ourselves. Anything. Add that to the list. Any way we can tell people how oppressed and pathetic we are so we can get more things. Just anything. Anything.
Time Bomb. It's by Dr. Charlotte Cooper, who talks about leftist politics, class, and fat phobia.
Obesity Time Bomb. Well, that's exactly what it is. That sounds like the most accurate thing. Okay, well, that was a lot of nothing. 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 A fucking lot of nothing. Well, thanks for that. Thanks for absolutely no information. All right. I don't know which one's going to be worse. They're both going to be bad. All right, we got 2 more videos. Let's pick one. We got one. We got one longer one. Well, let's do this one. This one's called Trans People Lie. There are 2 trans videos. 2 trans videos we're about to get into.
Boys have a penis. Girls have vagina.
All right, here we go. Let's
What's in the box?
have some fun with this one. See what we got here. Oops. I have to drag the video in.
When you get to the gender clinic, what does the specialist actually do? Well, they ask you questions, of course. This person, who has the power to decide what the rest of your life will look like, asks you questions to make sure that your answers fit the ones they have in their textbook. And can you guess what the problem is? We lie! Or not even necessarily lie, but just we tell them what they want to hear. There's a documented history of trans people doing this since at least the 1950s, and we're still doing it. A 2015 study found that about 30% of trans respondents admitted to lying or withholding information during their NHS gender assessments, because of course we do. If you wait several years for that appointment and you finally get in the room with a person who has your life in their hands, a person who is almost certainly cis, and they ask you, so, when did you know? Of course you're going to say, oh, ever since I was a child. Yeah, I wore my mother's dress. I called myself Wendy. Like, all I want is to be a 1950s housewife and marry a man. Of course you're going to say that.
Oh, that ended? So is this in favor of logic and common sense, or is this like... So saying that the title of the video is in my folder says trans people lie. So what you're saying is they're embellishing and they're leaning into, well, we know that. Lie versus, so I think that okay. So, right, there's lies and there's also like gender dysphoria. There's thinking, there's being delusional, right? So just because you're saying something doesn't mean, like, lying is, like, how would you define lying? Saying something that you know to be untrue, that you know consciously, factually untrue. So you're saying something else knowing that it's not the truth. I think this is I think she's trans or he, whatever. She says we lie. So I guess this person's trans and is saying that, yeah, I don't know what the context is. It seems like it's a documentary. I don't know if this is talking out against gender reassignment, but everyone lies to a point. But obviously, if you're doing self-reported studies or self-reported this, that, and the other, you're going to get a lot of people that are saying, like when they go to these gender reassignment meetings, like she was saying, you have to wait, months or years. Then, of course, you're going to go there. You're going to have this whole story that you worked up and this whole identity that you forged. So if you're just self-reporting, this is why any kind of scientific studies, I'm just giving some thoughts on this. Anytime you're doing self-reported studies, it's not going to be accurate because we all know that when someone says they eat healthy or they exercise regular, they always do this or they never do that. It's usually not true, or they're omitting things and they're just, glazing over and they're ignoring certain fundamental things that they do or don't do. I'm just not sure what the context of this video is. So anyway, a lot of people lie, but I think, you have to be careful with the usage of the word lie. So being factually untrue, knowing that it's factually untrue. When you're getting affirmed, the problem with this kind of stuff is the gender affirming. So you're going to someone, let's say in the United States or Europe or whatever it is, any kind of gender affirming care. So if you don't give someone that says that they're a woman when they're a man, or they're a man when they're a woman, if you don't give them the tools, if you don't give them the drugs, if you don't give them the medications, if you don't give them the resources to continue in that process, then you are transphobic, right? Gender affirming care, the problem with that is you're going somewhere to get help. If you're a man and you think you're a woman, that's a problem. That's not normal. That's not something that's not a normal thing. All right. And vice versa. Like there's a lot of different factors with this, but if you're going to someplace that's called gender affirming care, you're not really getting help. You're getting facilitated down that pathway. In the title, that's the definition of what you're doing. Gender affirming care means like, oh, we'll help you. We're affirming your gender. We're affirming, and gender is a construct. Gender is made up. This is all made up. That's why you can have 10,000 of them. There are males and females. What you like to fuck, if you're gay, you're lesbian, you're bi, or you're a wolf, you're half wolf, like this is just in your own head. It's all make believe. Okay? But you got 2 X chromosomes, you got a XY, and I know there's other different patterns, but we're talking about male, female. You got male and female, and on a very, very, very extremely rare situation, you have intersex. And that's it. So everything else is just upstairs. And we don't understand the brain. So any of this affirmation is just going down the pathway. You're saying, oh, I am going to make sure this kind of care is about facilitating this delusion. It's about facilitating this situation. It's affirmation. And that's just fundamentally dangerous. It's fundamentally dangerous. You just need to be helping people through these situations. A lot of times when it's kids, when they're surrounded by children, you have a lot of these cliques, you have puberty anxiety, you're going through a lot of changes and you're fearful and you're looking for answers. You're looking for answers. You're looking for truth. You're looking for reality. You're looking for people to guide you and to make you feel safe and secure. And kids are getting wrapped up in these like in this love bombing. You know, anytime that they say something weird, that they're gay or they're trans or they're this and they're that, they get affirmed, they get pats on the back, they get cheered, they get, I don't know, Dove advertising campaigns, right? They get all this love and attention and following and hashtags, and they get all this social support. So of course they're going to lean into that just by default. It's not even like, oh, I'm getting love and support, let me keep on doing this. It's just, it's affirming. It's affirming in that direction. I think it definitely has to do with the food. It definitely has to do with the food. It definitely has to do with, you know, what you're exposed to when you're younger, what you're exposed to in the womb, your parents, your upraising, all of it. I think the food's a big thing. The food, the water, because, you know, even when parents are feeding their kids, like, they hope they're feeding them good food, they're still getting GMO. They're getting a lot of glyphosate, atrazine. You know, when they're giving your kids formula, you're getting all these stabilizers, all these things that are really fucking up the body. And especially when it's in utero, when you are pregnant, and when the body is, when the baby is developing. Because the mother, you're still eating. Even if you're breastfeeding as a mother and you're still feeding your baby, what are you eating? How many mothers are eating perfectly? And like, when I mean perfectly, how many mothers are eating and exposing themselves? You know, they have a baby and they're nursing and stuff like that, but they're washing themselves with Dove soap and with all these like chemicals and stuff in these things. And what's the mother eating? Are they eating grass-fed beef and organ meats and stuff and then breastfeeding their baby? Or are they eating the same, quote, healthy foods that they thought they were eating that was healthy, that are sprayed with all these chemicals and all these, you know, byproducts in the waters and plastics? Yeah, we got a soundboard for that.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
So it's a lot of it. It's a lot of it. And look, if you're getting these types of foods and you're getting exposed to these things physically, it's going to be very hard to resist that kind of mental second, third, fourth layer exposure to this kind of ideology. Well, look, we always talk about this. Everyone goes through these different phases when you're in high school or middle school. Come on, people go through, when I was younger in high school, went through like the skater phase, right? You have like chain wallets and baggy pants. You go through different phases when you're wearing things that are in the zeitgeist, that are popular. It's just that weird with culture. It's so fragmented because of TikTok and Twitter and just internet, that there's so many different cultures internationally. It's not really just local. It's not really like, hey, there's a current theme. It's all so disparate. So you really get segmented. And I think there's a lot of loneliness, but like separation. So of course the lockdowns were terrible for that. The separation from friends, family, and just social, but also there isn't like a cohesive culture where you have like a certain theme like we had in 80s, 90s. Like there isn't like a consistent culture across the board because we have access to so many different things. So you can go online and find this tiny little hashtag click for like very specific interests. And when you get segmented in every which way, like it's all still mental. You're getting segmented and pulled in different directions where you're at the kitchen table, you're at home, or you're at school. But if you're on your phone, you're elsewhere. You have all these other different places to get love and attention and find belonging. And you get to spread out and get exposed to all these different things. And it just fractionalizes kids' brains. And yeah, it's a big disconnection. Separating from the parents, separating from friends, separating from reality. A lot of these things, when you can brainwash someone, a lot of that is just like the separation, psychological and physical separation from community. But it's also mental too. Attention spans, everything's really, really fragmented. There's so many levels. And because there's so many levels, people can just brush it off like, oh no. Yeah, all these just people were just trans. There's like 4 or 5, 10, 15, 20x, whatever increase in this all of a sudden, right? All of a sudden, it's just, hey, everyone that was a boy is now a girl. Just suddenly. Come on, it's nonsense. It's ridiculous. It's just nonsensical. It doesn't work like that. Andrew, how do you feel about women eating the placenta after childbirth? Yeah, that's definitely a good thing. Yeah, a lot of women do that. That's good stuff. Yeah, that'd be something that we do. Yep. Mama Solio's gone down that rabbit hole. She's deep into all that stuff. reading and learning about it. No doubt. Oh, the churchy.
Aww.
Maybe we'll have some church liver. Get right in there. Very nutritious. Hi, cutie. Why are you being so cute today? You're so cute. You gotta stop being so cute. Oh. Oh, ho, 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 ho.
Aww.
Let's get a little belly rub before we get into the last video. Little belly rub. Okay. Fucking dog. And she's comfortable. I guess we're just going to do that then, I suppose. I love how she woke out of that like, the fuck just happened? What was I doing? All right, this one, last one, I know we're just kind of dilly-dallying. Came out as trans to students. Oh, boy. Oh.
I didn't like him anyway. He wasn't right in the hat.
Here we go. Last one, fam.
Hi, good question. Yes, and also yes. For quick reference, I started HRT in January of last year and came out...
I'm going to pause it right there, Mochumbo. The question says, did you transition while teaching? Do you have any advice / encouragement for that? Jesus Christ. Hey, can you encourage me to do it? I'm going to be the other thing.
...the school in April. The biggest piece... For quick reference, I started... Hi, good question. Yes, and also yes. For quick reference, I started HRT in January of last year and came out to the school in April. The biggest piece of advice I could give is a little bureaucratic, but make sure you talk to your administration first before you come out to the school. This is just so that the administration can know about your transition and defend you. See, none of the kids had a problem, but a few of the parents did, but because the administration was aware, they were able to intervene and have my back. We had one...
You see the problem here? You see the problem, a few parents, the kids didn't have a problem. They don't know any different. That's why you're teaching them. You should know better. A few of the parents did, but the school board and the administrators were able to intervene and defend me. Homeschool? Homeschool. If you're a parent and then you have administrators come in like and defend, no. Yeah, separate the kids from the parents. That's sick shit. The parents of the children had problems with it, but then the administrators were able to intervene. The parents are the administrators. Fuck, man. The parents are the parents are in charge. That's their child. That's so sick. Fuck this shit.
But because the administration was aware, they were able to intervene and have my back. We had one parent call the school and asked to have their kid switched out of the class. The administration said no.
Oh! That should not be the administration's choice. The parent asked the administration to switch a kid out of class, and they said no. No.
Out of the class, the administration said no. It sucked to have to feel like I had to be able to tell people about things in order to be myself, but at least the administration was able to take care of it for me. Otherwise, just be honest and upfront with the kids. If they're anything like mine, they're more mature than you think they are.
They're more mature than you think they are. They're not. That is gross. That's grooming. They're more mature than you think they are. No, they're not. No, they're not. Children are not more mature than you think they are. We know they're not mature. This is why we have restrictions around what they can do for their body, their physical, and their mental development. They are not mature. That's why you can't fuck them. Because they can't make decisions. They don't understand long-term consequences. This is why younger kids and people do ridiculous, dumb stuff. That's why they get injured. They jump out of trees and they'll do ridiculous things. They don't understand consequences. They don't have the same type of desire for self-preservation because their frontal lobe and their cortex and shit isn't fully developed. Parents should always have that right. If you're a parent and you're in that situation, like, okay, whose fault is it? I think that's the real question. Whose fault is it? Is it that person who's mentally disturbed that needs serious help? Is it their fault? Who's allowing it? The administration? Is it their fault? Or is it the parents' fault for not pulling their kids out of the fucking school? It's like, once you are aware of this information, you need to make decisions. Oh, you're going to have someone has gender dysphoria and who's going to do this shit. The administration's accepting of it. And then you're not going to allow the kid to switch out of the class, but then you're like, the parent is going to allow that. I don't know the whole situation. This is just one video. So I'm saying, it's like, who's responsible? It's the parents, right? The parents are responsible. The parents have to be removing kids from these schools. The parents have to be getting on the boards. The parents have to be removing, I don't even know what the process is. I'm sure it's different in different locations, but you have the school board, you have funding. You just got to remove this shit. Homeschooling. But I mean, if you're a parent, right? If you're a parent and you're aware of this, you know, this is happening. If you're a parent and you're aware this is happening, to allow your child to continue to go to that school, I mean, right? Like, you know, it's kind of your responsibility. Scary shit. All right, fam, we got a Swole card to give away. We'll do a throwback. Let's get this Swole card given away. We got overtime tomorrow. Very excited for that. Swole card time. Swole card time. Swole card time. Well, we do have a Swole card winner. In pillar number 1, community, we read a post from Riley, and I know we got a couple Rileys, so everyone let this Riley know that he wins today's Swole card. He needs the Swole fan by his side. If you missed that post, Riley was broken up with, shockingly, but then he went full theft mode, absolute full theft mode, and I think the Execute More card is perfect for Riley to continue in his journey to make sick fucking gains, blocking out the noise, and you know what it's all about. You know what it's all about. Riley, congratulations. Let Riley know that he won today's Swole card. Send us an email to support@swolenormous.com, Swole card 2687. The subject, mailing address, the body of the email. Again, this is in the pillar number 1 community section in the discussion boards. So please head on over there and let Riley know won today's Swole card. Congratulations. I wish it were under better circumstances, but it sounds like you're absolutely fucking crushing it. So let's nut this beach. We'll take some soundboard requests and we'll have a throwback in just a few minutes. Right at the end, with the piano cock. Riley, much love, respect.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Use that Swole card wisely. Sling that knowledge cock far and wide, Riley. The church.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
You're so cute. Everyone thinks you're so cute. You're the cutest. Cute beach.
I arrived in America's airport with clothing, US dollars, and a jar of gypsy tears to protect me from AIDS.
Smooth. Very, very smooth stuff. Very classy. I'm learning a lot from you right now, dude.
Coast to coast. Very nice, fam. Thank you so much for being here. Let me crank up this beach. And let's get into a throwback quickly. All right, throwback time. Where were we? Throwback. All right, here we go.
Friendly reminder that thin privilege is real, and I.
Jesus Christ, coming out of the gate hot. It's like one of those wind-up dolls.
This is your friendly reminder that thin privilege is real, and I know because I have it.
Oh, slow down, slow down.
Let's break it down. I've never been marginalized because of my size. Never been told that my BMI is too high for a procedure.
You've never been told your BMI is too high because you're not fat. It's not thin privilege, it's not being fat.
Anybody look at me funny when I sit next to them on an airplane or any other
That's because you haven't opened your mouth yet.
Got him! Always been able to comfortably sit at seats at restaurants or in theaters.
I love how that's supposed to be like, oh my God, I have thin privilege. I can sit in a fucking chair. Why is it always these fucking like middle-aged white women that are trying to like make themselves feel better?
And intersectionality here is key. The roots of fat phobia are inherently racist.
Oh my God, what a great edit. God. My ears. It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous, fam. That's all we got for today. We'll see you tomorrow. And don't forget, we have overtime immediately following the live stream. Very excited about that. So be there. Join us, swolenormousx.com. Hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, all that good shit. And we'll see you tomorrow. Peace, McGee's, Deuce Magoose, your boy Papa Swolio. Out.
Crazy flow, need a straight jacket. Cash flow, I'm a bank addict. 6 subs, had the bass smacking. 808, had the place clapping. 3 girls is enough for me, so I pull out like the stock crashing. Like an IPO, trying to purchase me. This a private sector, so you can't have it. Faking all that boom bapping. Who you think you is, boy? 90s want they sound back, so I give rap all these fake rappers as I take matters in my own hands. I don't need rapping, I don't need Zans. I don't need help, I'm a grown man. Now they can't left and they so mad, it's like
then yeah, I found that young king with my crown at 10 racks in the fanny pack, couple hundred in the Louis bag.
That's a bed that you made. That's a bed that you made. That's a bed that you made. That's a bed that you laid. What kind of game is you playing? We go hard in the paint, chill. What the fuck is you saying? I only go where they pay. What kind of game is you playing? Yeah, whoa, my shit is relevant, on topic, my melanin is popping. I'm taking skeletons on closets and making new deposits. I'm in my element, no ollies, you children popping.